right now on the phone. We're talking to Robert Ben Garant and Tom Lennon.
Woo-hoo.
Good morning, guys. You probably know them from Reno 911 and a ton of movies, but today we're talking about the new book, Writing Movies for Fun and Profit, How We Made $1 billion at the box office and you can too. People probably think that's just a good title, but you guys have literally made well over $1 billion at the box office.
Yeah, the only bummer is we found out after you do that, the movie studios keep a lot of that money.
Yeah. Vin Stiller gets a bunch of it, too.
Yeah, they really keep so much of it.
We save that for the end of the book. That's kind of a spoiler alert thing.
People get to the end, they're like, I can do this too.
Like covered in like pimp bling and like piles of money and cocaine and stuff.
And you guys get none of it. I was wondering that, like, as a writer, in the grand scheme of things, when a movie is made, you'd think that, you know, obviously the studio gets their cut, the director probably makes a pretty penny, the stars, if you've got big stars like a Ben Stiller, they're going to make a lot of money. Where do the writers sit in that? I mean, can you make a decent chunk as a writer or not so much?
Well, you start off really, really small, and as you work your way up, like any business, you get a little bit more until eventually you can negotiate for a piece of the back end.
You can, you know, I mean, we love screenwriting. The book, you know, while it has a kind of obnoxious title, we really do love it, and as much as it's a funny book, it also really is a guidebook to how to make lots of money working for the studios. You know,
yeah, if we can do it, anybody can do it. You know.
Yeah.
Is it, I mean, do you guys feel like, as screenwriters, I mean, people that enjoy writing movies, do you feel kind of like you've got to sell out to write a successful movie? Like, can you write something that you're really passionate about and proud of, or do you have to kind of take this route that's like, here's what we want to do, but here's what's going to actually sell? We should probably do it this way.
You know, this is interesting, you know, because Ben and I, people always ask us, like, when are you guys going to write your sort of passion project movies, you know? And the answer is, we write them all the time. They just haven't been getting made yet.
The ones that get made are Ben Stiller and a monkey slapping each other. You know,
that kind of thing, you know? So,
and I think, and this book is very specifically not about making indies. Like, this book is very specifically about working in the studio system and how to figure out the ropes of it. You know, but just, you know, when you're writing these big tentpole studio movies, you then have the time and money to write anything you want. And you know, that's kind of what we do in our spare time. We write other movies. Tom's has finally got one going that's going to film in August. That's him and Rob Riggle, called Boondoggle. I have like a weird, tiny little horror movie that's finally going to start filming in the fall.
That's cool. We've had Rob Riggle on the show a few times too. Also a very funny guy.
Good dude.
You guys have like a little group of funny people. Is there like something you have to do to get welcomed into the group of hilarity there? Is there like an initiation?
Regular mafia stuff. You just got to kill somebody. Yeah.
And then you're in. I love it. Speaking of movies,
normal like comedy mafia hazing, just like the real mafia.
We send you out to the desert and you got to kill the kids in the hole.
The few of us that are big fans are going to really appreciate that joke. I like it.
No, we've got all those guys in Reno. We love those guys. Just joking, Scott.
Come on, you guys.
So the Boondoggle coming out, and then also you guys have The Machine. Isn't that on the agenda?
Filming with Vin Diesel. This will be our second Vin Diesel movie, actually. Yeah.
Isn't that weird? Like thinking. I mean, if you look back when Vin Diesel started, I mean, you guys probably sat in a room and kind of mocked him for his action movies and stuff, and now you're writing movies for him.
Well, we fell into it very accidentally. We wrote a Jackie Chan movie called The Pacifier, and we pitched it to Jackie Chan, and Jackie Chan was going to do it, and then The Medallion and The Tuxedo came out, and so Disney fired Jackie Chan and hired Vin Diesel, and so suddenly we were the Vin Diesel family movie guys. It really, that's kind of how we accidentally fell from the state to like the Night at the Museum world, which is, you know, you just kind of got to go with the flow.
Isn't there a guy, like, I mean, isn't there somebody that just like looks for movies for Vin Diesel? Because I have some friends that write as well, and they pitch movies, and they said they got to talk to the guy. They could be full of crap, but they said they talked to the guy that's like The Rock's movie buyer, and he said, like, here's what we're looking for.
Talk about this in the book. Like, most movie stars have at least one. You know, there's there's some sharks that have a tiny little shark that swims around underneath it and eats weird barnacles off of it. Mm-hmm. Movie stars tend to have one of those, and it's usually a writer. Sometimes we compare them to, like, you know, like narcadors who like sing the praises of drug dealers. It's like, you know, like little writers who follow around movie stars who work for them specifically, and we've been lucky enough to be those for Ben Stiller on occasion. And oddly, Vin Diesel. Very odd. And oddly, Vin Diesel. You know, if you had told me, like, when we were writing Porcupine Racetrack and Eating Muppets, that we would be the guys who would be amongst Vin Diesel's go-to comedy action guys, I'd be like, really? That sounds far-fetched.
Yeah, it does seem a little, I mean, like an odd pairing there. You'd think of guys like you writing kind of, like Balls of Fury. That's a movie that I would see you guys writing. It's like, it seems like a fun, like, hey, let's put all our funny friends in this kind of weird, funny comedy movie. And the movies that are really working for you are the more family movies and the kind of, really family seems to be your guys' niche.
Well,
yeah, it's very weird. Like, I mean, we did Reno for years and years and years just because it was so cheap that we could have our friends show up and do really filthy jokes. But yeah, it's very, very strange that we have these two kind of careers going simultaneously.
Well, I'll be honest, a lot of people don't know that we do both, like, at all. You know, people really don't know, like, that they wouldn't make any connection between the Reno 911 stuff and Night at the Museum at all.
That's true. I mean, I remember when the first time I had you guys on, or one of you guys back in the day talking about Reno stuff, when I did my research, that was the first time I had, that I found out you had any connection to Night at the Museum.
It's weird, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, and now
the plum smugglers with the weird mustaches.
And we would show up to pitch movies during Reno seasons, and people just thought we had mustaches because we liked them.
We were just weird dudes because they'd never seen the show. Like, I don't know, they must be gay. Look at those mustaches.
They've got those gay stashes.
Yeah.
What, are you guys like the go-to? I mean, now can you make any? I mean, when you guys write a movie and you walk into to somebody, do they just automatically green light it because of the? I mean, you can say Night at the Museum. How much has that made? Like almost
absolutely not. The Night at the Museum movies combined have made, I don't know, $8 or $900 million, something like that.
So almost $1 billion just with that one franchise.
It's so hard to get even any movie made, even like, you know, like big hit movies. We'll work on a movie, and for it to get made, 7 or 8 years will go by sometimes.
It's almost impossible. Yeah. Even with no matter what your track record is, it's almost impossible. You know, like Will Smith will have movies fall apart, you know, at the starting gate. It's getting a movie made is almost impossible, and getting a good movie made is a bajillion more times impossible.
There's a 0.1% chance of it actually turning out good.
For people that are wondering if the book is all about, if they're thinking like, I don't just want to write movies, you know, I'm not into writing movies, it's also a funny book as well.
Oh, I think it's just a very funny light read. Even if you're just sort of vaguely interested in the movie business and want to hear some funny stories about it, it's also pretty great for that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you guys wrote. I don't know if you want me to bring this up, but you wrote Herbie Fully Loaded, and a lot of stuff in the book.
Take 89% of the credit for that movie sucking.
that's fun.
Our heart was really in the right place.
Yeah, we tried. Our first draft was great. And so now the chapter of the book is kind of like we survived the Titanic crashing and describe how that movie got so sucky.
Boy, it really, really got sucky. Yeah.
That's got to be fun. Yeah. That's almost got to be fun now. I'm sure in the moment it was kind of like, what is happening to us? But now that you've had so much success and you can look back, it's got to be a fun story to have in the back pocket of like, yeah, remember how that all went down? And now getting to watch Lindsay Lohan and remember, oh yeah, we did Herbie Fully Loaded.
Mm-hmm. Oh, she was a spring bud at the time. She was beautiful and just flowering.
Yep.
And now look what happened.
This is before the voice that sounded like this.
Yeah.
That kind of voice, that voice that she's got that sounds like a weird Muppet.
And she looks kind of like Karen Black now.
If there was like a Muppet that smoked cigarettes,
that would be
have her voice.
The Lindsay Lohan Muppet. I like it. I was wondering, you write and you also act, obviously we saw on Reno 911. It seems like, Tom, you're doing more acting now, like doing a lot of, other roles and stuff. Is that something, do you like to act more than write? Are you both writers at heart? How do you guys decide what you're going to work on?
I will say it's pretty fun to be. I started acting more in films when I figured out what type I play. When you give up on the idea that you're going to play the lead and embrace the fact that you're going to play the creepy weirdo standing next to the lead, you just work a lot more, I found.
Yeah, it works out for you.
You never have to get up and do crunches. You never have to do anything.
You just live the
For
dream.
Peter Lorre, it's fantastic. Peter Lorre was busy every day of his life.
And you're just set. What do you have? Do you have any movies out right now?
I'm in Bad Teacher right now.
Bad Teacher. It's almost like all the time you're involved in some sort of a movie. You either wrote it or you're in it or your best friend's in it.
He's a very busy guy. Yeah, it's true. Trying to stay active, yeah.
That's trying to stay active. You make it sound like exercise or something. Like, I'm trying to stay in good shape. What's the dream for you guys? Like, if the career was just 100% where it needed to be, what would you be doing? Just writing, acting?
We're kind of doing that right now. We're kind of there. It's great. We've written 2 very low-budget comedies that we will hopefully both star in and direct I'm guessing probably next year. So we're pretty much doing that. And while we do that, we still, as much as we talk about how the sausages are made and then Hollywood's insane in the book, we really like writing big studio movies.
It's great. It's beach
really
work.
Fun.
It's a really fun job.
Yeah, I can.
And especially once you know how crazy it is and what to expect, you can have a tremendous amount of fun doing it.
I can imagine. And with the two of you guys writing together, I've always wondered this about writing teams like this and teams that have worked on a lot of stuff. Is there ever like a chance to, have you ever thought about doing stuff alone? Like, is that an awkward thing where if somebody came to...
We also do. I think it keeps you saying, like, Ben just wrote a horror movie by himself that he's doing that's going, like, this fall with the Paranormal Activity people.
Yeah, Jason Blum and Lionsgate, and it's not a funny horror movie. It's a straight-up terrifying ghost story, and it's cool. And then, Tom just did a thing with Rob Riggle that's coming out, or that they're shooting in August. So it's fun. Like, we love writing, and so on our vacations, we just write something different.
Wouldn't it suck, though, if like, Robert, you did this horror movie, and then it came out, and it was like the one movie where you got a huge piece of the back end, and it ended up making like $1 billion, and it was like, you're just done?
That's highly likely what you're just bringing up. So
that's exactly why I'm doing it. That's exactly why I'm doing it. Yeah. I mean, both of us, between like that and
the thing that we're all thinking about.
Yeah, that's. Like our side careers. Our main career is supporting our side career, which is also writing. So the more kind of economic pad that you have, the more that you could take a year off and do a little tiny comedy, which is our plan for next year.
Well, that's perfect. I can't wait to see the little comedies. I love the big ones. I love watching you guys make money, but it's also fun to see the little stuff here. So we're looking forward to all of it. Robert, Ben, Garant, and Tom Lennon writing movies for fun and profit. How we made $1 billion at the box office, and you can too. It's in stores and it's hilarious. Robert and Tom, thanks so much for being on the show again, you guys, and best of luck with the book.
As always.
Yeah, thank you so much, man.
All right, see you guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.
I love those guys.
The Big J Show. Weekday mornings from 6 till 10 on Billings' #1 hit music station, Hot 101.9.